right, greetings. Welcome. Bettor's Last Stand. Matt and Chris here with you in the Pine Room studio. Coach out on golf duties, not the Pine Room World Golf Classic Championship duties. He's on the West Virginia State Tournament for boys golf in high school. So he's got to do the announcing and do the awards and all that kind of stuff. So he won't be joining us today. He did send some of his picks in, so we'll go through those as well. Got a lot to talk about today. MLB playoffs in full swing. We got NHL starting next week, college football week 6, NFL week 5. We got the F1 guys are in Qatar. NASCAR at the Charlotte Roval, last race before another cut down in the playoffs. We got Champions League soccer, which I wish we could talk about today, but we're not going to have time. It's starting up right now. We'll talk more about that once they get towards the end of the group stages. Match day 3 or maybe 2.
No, that's the
match
level right
2.
behind the Premier League.
No. This is the Champions League. These are the best teams. All the teams that qualify out of Europe that win their leagues, or depending on how many teams are in it, you qualify for this. This is the best of the best. This is the best competition in the world, bar none, for club soccer. So you get all the best teams in Europe playing in this in group stage, and then they go out to the advance of the knockout tournament that will be done in the summertime. So that's just starting up here. Match day 2, I think it is. So the second. Oh no, that's not good. I got Red Star Belgrade, and they just gave up a goal.
Yeah, I just saw it.
Young boys, just scored on them 1-1. So anyway, soccer always in full swing this time of year. Lots of excitement there. The Tampa Bay Rays are facing elimination right now. They're down 4-0 in the bottom of the 4th here in the game 2 of that wild card series. And the Blue Jays and Twins coming up here in a couple of minutes. We had a pretty good week last week. We were up 32 units, 32.25 units last week on the show.
That's the best week so far, man?
I believe so. Yeah. At least the best that I recall. Sam had Ryan Blaney as well as I did in the NASCAR, so that was a nice winner at 12-1 at Talladega. Sam also had a nice prop for Ryan Tannehill to throw over a half a touchdown, and he did that, of course. So Sam was up about plus 725 on the week. Coach on his best week, 5-9 in college football for Coach, including 0-1 on his best bets. But he was 3-1 in the NFL, and he had a best bet winner with the Houston Texans. He was minus about 3 units overall. Chris, you were 3-6-1 in college football. Push on your best bet with Boston College. 2-2 in the NFL.
What was my best bet?
The Eagles.
Oh,
yeah, and they
won by
barely
30,
beat the Skins, but that's you never know how those games.
I'll get one of these. I'll get them right one day.
But that's all right.
It's hard.
You've done all right. So I was terrible in college football, 4-6, 5-0-1 in NFL. I actually had the best NFL day I've had in a little bit.
Yeah, because you even did well on that sheet, didn't you? The Abby's thing.
Yeah, we had 3 losses.
You had a good week.
Week
4.
1 or 2 will win that though. We actually legitimately had a real chance of going undefeated. And sometimes you'll have a pick on there, and it's a loser from the start. It's done. But we had 2 teams choke away double-digit leads, and then the Deshaun Watson. I would have never picked the Browns if he wasn't playing. So that one went against us. But anyway, we'll move on. The Ryder Cup. Actually, let me go back to me. I was 4-6 in college, 5-0-1 in NFL, which is stunning for me. I was 4-1 in the AFL. And I had Ryan Blaney in NASCAR. It was a really good week for me, plus about 15 units, plus 1480 on the week. Shocking. And then probably my best thing that I gave out all week was right here on the show last week, the Ryder Cup exact score, 16.5 to 11.5. Nailed that one at 17-1. So hopefully some people got that. It's a really good one. USA was really never in contention. They got blitzed from the start, and Europe pretty much cruised to victory.
Done.
So yeah,
that's impressive.
So yeah, it was a really, really strong week for me. So there's nowhere to go but down from here, and we'll see how baseball can treat us and some of these other things going forward. We got the Duggar's Saucy Spread week 7 coming up this week. If you haven't checked us out on the Football Friday show, be sure and do that. We are out at Gummies in Elm Grove again this week, and then I believe we go to Moundsville the following week. We're starting to wind down there. It's already week 7 of the Duggar's Saucy Spreads, and college or high school, Ohio high school was in week 8 now, which is just crazy. Season's almost over. Playoff talk starting up, but lots more coming here on the Pine Room. We have the World Golf Classic you guys had on Sunday.
Yeah.
Video of that will be coming out. Scotty and James, the winner there. We had some other guys have good showings, so that was an exciting time as always for everybody. And there will be a very comprehensive video coming out to document all that great golfing by everybody. Superior golf and shot making at that beautiful course up there at the par 3.
Although I tell you, Brad and I played with Job and Say, and each one of those guys had a really incredible, like a chip shot or whatever. But they did well, and they kicked our ass.
You know what I attribute this to? They both have steady women in their lives now, so that's maybe that's the reason they're starting to play better golf.
Who, Say?
Yeah, Say's got a girlfriend. Job's got a girlfriend.
I didn't want a new Job. I didn't know Say.
Yeah, you may not have been there the time. I mean, he brought her to the Pine Room. She was there.
No,
you sure? You were there week 1, I think.
It depends on what time you brought her.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway,
could have been foggy.
So yeah, both have women in their life. Both their golf games are on the upswing. So stay tuned for that. Lots going on with that stuff. We got the Blazing Paddles pickleball coming up there in October. I believe that's October 22nd. I guess it is October now. 22nd. I believe that's a Sunday. So lots happening here. We got some guests. Jarrett, you guys had a guest on last night on the regular podcast. Guy named Vincent Mason out of Nashville, recording artist. So
nice kid.
So you'll have that coming out in the podcast probably yesterday if you're listening to this. And then we have our friends from Denmark, a couple of girls that are doing a documentary on dog racing around Wheeling, which is fascinating. And we got to talk to them over at Abby's a few weeks ago, and they're going to join us on Skype or Zoom next podcast. We're going to talk with them for a while and continue to try to help them track down info to get their film done and hopefully save the dog industry. That's the idea. So tons happening here in the Pine Room Studios. As always, be sure to check us out, BLS_PRP, and at the Pine Room Studios on social media, where we post all the pics and all the other type of content that you may be interested in. All right, Chris, let's not waste any time here. Let's get right into baseball. We said the Rays are struggling. They had 4 errors yesterday, down 4-0 again today. Milwaukee gives up 3-run lead last night with their best pitcher on the mound. The pressure's on. I feel like, don't you think the pressure turns to these home teams then after the road team wins game 1? Like intense pressure?
Oh, absolutely. Because then there's I mean, that's it. One and done.
Right.
I mean, if you lose, that's it. And you're in front of your home crowd too. And you're the
whatever
favorite.
You call that in Tampa. I don't even know if that's a home crowd.
Yeah, and I don't really know how Tampa has fared this year defensively, but man, that yesterday was a fiasco. Right before I came down to the podcast, I saw that guy in center field just wave at a ball and knocked it down, but it went way up in the air. He tried to get a guy out of third, threw it in the stands. I mean, it was just bad baseball, and here they are down 4-0 today. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know how much pressure they feel at home, and because. I don't know. What was their attendance there? I saw
the worst crowd since 1919 ever recorded at a Major League playoff baseball game. If you can believe that.
That's what, 104 years?
Yeah.
That's pathetic. And they're getting a new stadium, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't know how the taxpayers. I'd be pissed if I was them. In contrast, the Phillies
they
sold their games out immediately, and tickets on the street are going for 500 times the amount of face value, 500% uptick in price from face value. So that tells you which teams care or which cities care and which teams don't.
And a lot of those, we know all too well about Philadelphia fans. I mean, they are passionate. It's a hell of an electricity in those arenas, whether you're watching the Eagles or the Flyers, whenever they might have been good.
It's been a while.
But in the Phillies, so they're getting momentum, man. I really like Philly.
Yeah, I would say Atlanta definitely don't want to play them. I think that's the only team that maybe could beat Atlanta, just because of the way it's going to come out. They're going to be coming off a rest. Philly only needs to get one game there in Atlanta, and then they are then in position to come back home and flex their muscles. And now Texas just goes up 5-0 here. So I got this game under, and I don't think it's going to last. But Milwaukee, as I said, they choked away a lead last night, 3-0. They're another team. I've been skeptical of them all year because they can't hit, and they left so many guys on base again last night. They had a chance to build that lead. They never did, and you knew it was going to come back and bite them. It's the same old story. Craig Counsell.
Right, and we've talked about that throughout the year on these shows about it. We were never really impressed with the Brewers. I mean, somebody had to win that division, but
correct.
I mean, they just were to me they're just an above average team.
Yes,
and no more than that. And you mentioned Counsell. There's rumors that he might not be coming back.
Yeah,
I think it's in his last year of his contract.
I don't know how much to blame him for.
No, I'm not blaming.
But I do blame. But I do to some extent. I think it's time to turn the page there. They've been the same exact team for the last 6-7 years. I feel like they can never hit. They have a little bit of pitching, are in a good bullpen. And into this year, they had some injuries to their starters. But again, your starter gets staked to a 3-0 lead last night, and you can't hold it. Just no excuse for that. The Twins finally win a playoff game. They lost 18 straight.
They would say 0-4, wasn't it?
Yeah, 0-4. They took one game off the Yankees. They escaped the Yankees, who they seemingly played every year. Not this year. They take game one from the Blue Jays, who is another team. I just never saw the Blue Jays kicking into gear. Thought their talent level was a little bit better than what their record was.
That lineup they had,
yes.
As far as hitting, my God, they got some studs in there.
Right, and it just seems like they just can't timely hit in big games, and they kind of go cold. And we'll see what happens today, but I would say the Twins are in a good position to win that series.
Yes, and you mentioned the timely hitting. That is so. I mean, sometimes it just goes overlooked during the season, but when it's crunch time like that, and you can't, get a clutch hit with 2 outs, when that really comes back to haunt you.
And it seems like the same teams can't do it every year, and then there's the teams that can, and the players that can. There's not that many of them, but all you need in baseball is one guy that can get up in key positions and make that, have that key at bat, get the big hit, and you can win these series, because a lot of times the pitching gets dialed in. It's a little bit tougher to score. Yeah. But I don't know. What do you think Kevin Cash is saying right now as he gets interviewed down 5-0? If I was him, I'd say fuck off, man.
They probably are. They're obligated to do that, right?
I'm assuming.
Somebody
told him what are they going to do if he didn't, though?
Well,
ban him,
true.
Eject him. I don't know. All right, the Marlins. They don't hit enough either. They're another team. Last night, chances against the Phillies. I mean, Wheeler pitched okay, but he's beatable. I like the Marlins today, though, a little bit. We'll see. By the time you listen to this, they may be out. Thought maybe they could get one off Nola, who hasn't been super solid.
And they're a feel-good story, and it was because, they've been down for so long, and it's really good to see a different team in there. I just think they're inexperienced.
They are. It's
going to be tough for them to pull this one.
I agree. And the Marlins fans, honestly, you can't bitch. They've only been around for like 25 years, and they've got 2 World Series, so they've had a pretty good run. When they do invest in the team, they are pretty good, and they have done a good job of getting young talent. So by no means do I think the Marlins are in a bad spot. I don't think they're a fluke to be here either. I think they're a team that's on the upswing, and I would expect them to continue to build and be a pretty good small market team in the future. Well, Chris, any thought? Anything changed since last week as far as teams that you think maybe could be dangerous? I mean, you mentioned the Phillies.
Yeah,
I guess
that's
pretty
the
much
team I'm going for in the National League anyway. I don't know, after watching them last night, and I've been saying it for a while. I think they got enough to get to the World Series, and even although, man, getting past the Braves, wow. I mean, that team has few weaknesses.
Very few.
But I'm still going to go. I'm going to ride the Phillies.
Yeah, I'm impressed with a team that I liked Texas early in the season. I thought they had a lot of ups and downs throughout the year, and then I was kind of off on them once they lost all their arms. But I'll say Montgomery threw a game that was way above his head yesterday. If he continues to pitch like that, and Eovaldi's been very solid here so far. Bochy's got the experience. They could be dangerous in the American League. I think if they hold on here to a 5-0 lead, no reason to think they wouldn't. Yeah. But, right now you start managing these games. Right now, Bochy's going to his best arm. As soon as there's a threat right here, you get their best guy up in the bullpen, and you just keep moving on, because you can save yourself a few days here if you can get this win and get yourself a couple extra days.
And, you talked earlier about crunch time, and you think about it. So here's Tampa, you go through 162 game season, and it comes down to the 3 games. So they already lose the first game.
The second best record in the American League.
Right, and then so these guys got to be pressing and just like trying to do too much, and so I can understand the pressure. Like you said, maybe not down here because there's probably 15,000 people there, but in teams that have a passionate fan base, and there's 50,000 people at the game. I could see where holding that bat a little bit tighter. And,
yes. No question.
And then you say, wow, we did all that for this? In the whole season, and then 2 games, boom, we're done.
Yeah. Well, we shall stay tuned, MLB
so
playoffs.
maybe the Pirates will be next year's Marlins, right?
Maybe. You never know.
Depends on their
it's always possible. All right, let's jump into college football now as we switch over. Baseball to football, not a fun switch for either one of us guys here. We would probably prefer to watch the baseball over the football any time over the football. But anyway, that's what the people want. That's what they tell us. People want football, American football.
Yeah.
As the Rays just ground into an inning-ending double play. So we go to the top of the sixth there, still 5-0. All right, Friday's games, interesting, I guess. Kansas State at Oklahoma State. Be the Wildcats on the road laying 11.5. You don't see that very often at T-Boone Pickens Stadium.
Yeah.
55 is the total. Say's team's been struggling. Kansas State's pretty good. Any thoughts on this game?
I got K-State off the bye week. They're 14th in scoring, averaging 39 a game. Defensively, they're not bad as well, 18. I think the 11.5 is too high.
Okay.
So I'm going to take Oklahoma State. I think Kansas State will win, but I think
Cowboys with the cover?
Yes.
Okay. I lean that way, too. I don't have a play in that game, but I lean that way. Coach has no play in that one. Nebraska at Illinois, also on a Friday night, 8 o'clock FS1. You're a Illini, Chris. Brett Bielema.
What the hell was I smoking?
44.5. Well, I thought they'd be a little better than they are.
But, I mean, this is awful. I mean, they're awful offensively. They
have them over 6.5. 6.5 was your best bet in the Big Ten. Over 6.5 wins. So they better get going.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, they don't get stops on defense. Plus, they turn the fucking ball over. Actually, I think in the Big Ten, I think they're dead last in scoring and total defense. So, I mean, and Nebraska's not really much better, but
no.
I'm going to take the game under. I don't really have a good feel for Nebraska.
Yeah.
But just what a disappointment Illinois has been.
Yeah. I lean Illinois in this game, but I don't know. Both of these teams suck. I have no official play on that one. And Coach does not either. Yeah, I'm just looking at his picks now. All right. Moving on, Saturday kicks, noon Eastern, Boston College and Army. This one, the totals dropped on this game quite a bit. Boston College has actually been able to score some points, which is rare for them. Open 52, down to 49.5. The Black Knights at home -3. Any position on this game, Chris?
No, I like Army at home. I mean, I know last week I had BC as one of my picks, but no, I'm going to go take the Black Knights. They're not a bad team and playing at home, and I really. BC, I'm not really sure how good they are on the road. So go with the Knights.
Yeah, I agree. I think Army's a hard team to prepare for. Boston College, actually, I thought would have a little bit better of a defense. Their defense is not very good. Their offense has been better. So complete flip from what the program's been like the last couple of years. All right, a SEC battle. LSU on the road at Missouri. Missouri catching 6.5 at home. The total is 64.5. Coach gives Missouri out as one of his strongest plays of the week. So, Chris, what do you think about this? I don't like Brian Kelly, but I don't love Missouri either.
No, I don't either.
I think I would bet over in this game if I had to make a choice.
No, Missouri or LSU's won the last 3, and I like them. I mean, for betting purposes, I'm going to go with LSU. I do not like Brian Kelly. Same with you. Right. I mean, but LSU's only won 3 versus the spread.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take the battle of the Tigers. I'm going to take the LSU Tigers.
Okay, Chris on LSU.
Is that what it is, 6.5?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Coach on Mizzou. I'll be probably leaning towards the over in that game. I don't really love either one of those teams. All right, let's go to the Big Ten. It's the Maryland Terrapins at the Ohio State Buckeyes. Ohio State -20. Total 58. Open 55.5. Now up to 58. A lot of people on Maryland, which scares me a little bit here. Maryland was a sneaky play last year. I remember sweating that game out. I had Maryland in a tight one. They played them very close last year, but this is at Ohio State. I don't know. To me, this seems like maybe a game Ohio State could run away late and pull away. I don't know. What do you think?
You know what? Ohio State will win the game. They've won all 8 in this series. Although I think. Maryland's got it. They got it. They might have an advantage in quarterback, but it is at not Notre Dame. It is at Ohio State.
Right.
Maryland's physical. They got a strong running game, and they're number 2 in the nation in turnover margin. I'm going to go with Maryland getting 20.
Okay, if I can get that to 21, I might take Maryland. I just feel like this game just worries me. Too many people Loving the Terps, but we'll see. Coach has, let's see, did he have anything on this game? I don't think he did. He does not. So we'll move along. And, oh, no, I'm wrong. He does. He likes Maryland here. Not one of his strongest plays, but he's got to lean towards Maryland. Rutgers at Wisconsin, the next game that we go to, sticking in the Big Ten. What an exciting clash.
Yes.
Rutgers on the road catching 14, the total 44.5. There's been some early play on the over in this game, which is kind of interesting. Wisconsin opening it up a little bit more on offense than they have been, but they're not very good. I've been against them a few times and came out on the right side of catching some points with some really bad teams, but I don't think that Luke Fickell's got this team where he needs it to be yet.
Yeah.
I think Rutgers could be pesky here. I'm leaning towards the Scarlet Knights if I could get 14.5.
Right, and they've been playing pretty well. Wisconsin's 4-0 against the spread, but I'd take the Scarlet Knights as well, getting 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, all right. That's a good one. I think that the Scarlet Knights could be pesky with your boy Schiano on the sidelines for them. All right, let's keep it going. Oklahoma and Texas.
Ooh.
The Red River
Is this
rivalry.
the game of the week, you think? Is this the...
Yeah, absolutely. On ABC at noon, it'll be the Longhorns minus 6.5. The total 60.5. Coach loves the over. He likes over 60.5. That is his best bet of the week. I lean Oklahoma here, and I lean the under, so I'm a little bit against Coach. I don't love either one, but I'm impressed with Oklahoma. I think they've been better than what people are giving them credit for. What do you say, Chris?
I am going, and this is going to be my best play. I'm taking Texas given 6.5.
Okay.
I just think Oklahoma, I mean, they're good, but they played a relatively easy schedule
I agree
to this point. And I think that, Texas is their interior lineman. I think they should win the battle up front and on both sides of the ball. So, and I think Texas is the real deal playing at home, so I'm going with them.
Okay. Coach on the over in the game and Chris on Texas. Those are their best bets in college. So you get those right out of the way at noon. You'll have your bankroll built up heavy if you go Texas and over, and you guys will put some jingle in your pocket. All right, let's go out west. Pac-12 game, 3 o'clock, which is noon out there. Washington State Cougars on the road at the UCLA Bruins. The Bruins minus 3.5. The total 59. I like Washington State in this game. I think they're a very good team. I think they're getting a little overlooked here. I'll take them getting 3.5. Chris,
Matt, I'm going with you. They're sneaky good. We've talked about them before in the Pac-12. I think them, and we kind of paired them up with Oregon State as teams that are overlooked. So I'm taking the Cougars as well.
And Coach is on Washington State as well. So all three of us on the Cougs there. That can't be good. All right, let's go to the ACC. The Syracuse Orange on the road after a terrible loss at home to Clemson. Actually, it's not terrible, but they didn't play very well. They will be at North Carolina, Chapel Hill. North Carolina minus 8.5, total 60. Any opinion in this game, Chris?
I'm going to take the Tar Heels minus 8.5. They're rested. They had a bye week. Syracuse, after a humiliating loss to Clemson, has to go on the road, so I'm taking the Tar Heels.
I would lean that way too. Don't have a play, but I would lean towards the Heels at home. Staying in the ACC, it's the Wake Forest Demon Deacons on the road at the Clemson Tigers. Clemson off the win in the Carrier Dome over Syracuse last week. They'll be laying 21 at home, the total 51. Any thoughts on this one?
Well, Matt, Clemson's defense is pretty good, and only giving up about 260 yards a game. Wake really struggles at quarterback, so I'm going to take the under.
I like under as well here, Chris. I think that's a smart play. I don't think Wake Forest anywhere near as good as they were on offense last year with Hartman going to Notre Dame. That's a heck of a lot to replace there. So I think over or under seems like a good logical play there. All right, let's keep it in the ACC. It's the Virginia Tech Hokies at the Florida State Seminoles. Seminoles minus 24.5. The total 52.5. Florida State off last week. Virginia Tech with a big win over Pitt. At home. I really, really, really like Florida State in this game. I think they will absolutely destroy Virginia Tech. I don't think this is my best bet, but it's pretty close, and I will be going with the Seminoles minus the 24.5. What are you on, Chris?
I Florida State's 4-0 for second year in a row, and they're only one of 13 teams to average 40 points a game, and Virginia Tech's not very good at all. So, but I'm not sure about 24.5, so I've got the over.
Okay. Yeah.
The over.
Yep. No, I think that's probably a pretty good coach on Florida State as well. Coach on a game that I was going to skip, but we'll go to it real quick. North Texas Mean Green catching 6 at Navy. The total 61. It's 3:30 kick on CBS Sports. Coach is on the North Texas Mean Green here, plus the 6. So anything to add on that game, Chris?
I'm just gonna go with the Military Academy. So
all right,
take Navy. Given
a more disciplined team.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right, back to the Big Ten we go. The Purdue Boilermakers on the road at the Iowa Hawkeyes. The Hawkeyes minus 2.5. Total 38.5. Iowa lost their quarterback.
Yes, they did.
Cade McNamara out for the season. That's really going to hurt this really good offense.
Well, this was
the good thing about that is when you're replacing a quarterback for Iowa, you're not really replacing a whole lot of production. So
right.
It's hard to imagine the other guy can be as bad. But I think McNamara actually was all right. So this could be really bad for this Iowa team. I really like the under in this game. Coach is on the under as well. Chris, where do you stand?
Well, because of that quarterback being out, and Purdue just hammered Illinois, even though it's at Iowa. I'm going with the Boilermakers to go in there and win this game.
All right, Chris, on the Boilers. I like it. That's
when I was going through these games, Matt. That was probably the first one because. There's always one or two matchups when we say it's the nap game.
Yeah.
So this could be one of them.
Yes, it could be. It could be. Game that could also be a nap game. No, not really. Alabama at Texas A&M. Your boy Jimbo Fisher hosting Nick Saban. Tide will be a 2.5-point road favorite. Total 49.5. Coach and I differ on this game. Chris, you'll be breaking the tie if you have an opinion on the side. I like Alabama in the game. I think Saban, oh my God, Texas is just teeing off. I mean, it's batting practice right now. 7-0 Rangers. And I don't know what Kevin Cash is waiting on. He's left his reliever in for a while. Alabama, anyway, on the road, minus 2.5. Total 49.5. I'm on Bama. I don't love them, but I don't like Texas A&M. And Coach is heavy on the Aggies here. Where do you stand?
Oh, I'm going with you. I would have a mark 2.5. I got Bama. Any day of the week, I'm going to take Saban over Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah, and he beat him last time out, so Saban's going to be pissed.
Yes,
like revenge factor.
And Bama came off a pretty impressive win last week. I know it was only Mississippi State, but they did appear to.
They found something on offense.
They looked more like the Alabama that we're used to.
I think they found something a little bit on offense, so they can build off that. And I don't know if Texas A&M wins this game, then maybe my Miami team is actually better than I expect too. So I don't know. Not really there yet, but Coach on the Aggies, Chris and I on the Tide. Let's drop down to the Big 12, UCF, Kansas, two teams coming off of very, I would say, poor second-half performances. UCF blows a huge lead to Baylor, which was a good thing for us. We were enjoying that. Kansas, who was in the game kind of at halftime against Texas, surrendered nearly 700 yards of offense last week to the Horns. That's never going to work. Kansas minus 2 at home. The total 65. So a lot of steam on the over in this game. It opened 62 up to 65. Public on Kansas here. Man, I don't know, Chris. This is a tough game. Both these teams need this win.
Yes, and looking, doing some research, it's their first ever matchup. But UCF can score points, but so can Kansas. But UCF doesn't stop the run very well in Kansas pass defense. So I've got this game going over the total of 65?
Yes, of 65 now.
I think it's going to be an exciting game.
I would agree with that.
And probably a relatively close game.
Yes, I would agree. A seesaw type game.
Yes.
I think it goes back and forth several times. Points seem to be what everybody's thinking. I will agree with that. Vanderbilt on the road at the Swamp. The Florida Gators minus 18.5. The total 52. Florida was horrible last week. Florida is going to be horrible a lot of times outside of the Swamp. It's the only place they can win. Yeah. I do like them here. I think they get back on it and win this game by at least 3 touchdowns to cover that 18.5. Do you have any thoughts on this one, Chris?
Well, Matt, Vandy, I think they have the worst defense in the conference. They've already turned the ball over 12 times. So I'm going to take Florida at home.
Yep. All right, we're in agreement on that one. All right, let's drop down the card and go to Coach Prime, Chris. Yes. The Pac-12's favorite son, Colorado, on the road at the Arizona State Sun Devils. The Buffs minus 4 on the road, total 60.5. Public, of course, all over Colorado. Arizona State is what Coach is playing here. It's one of his strongest plays, catching the 4 at home. total 60.5. Where do you stand on this ball game?
I'm standing on Colorado. I mean, Arizona State's weak defensively. They've given up about 28 a game. I think Colorado has just too much offense.
I would agree with you. I thought 4 was a little bit low for that.
I was surprised when I saw that. Yeah, I thought it'd be like 7.
Yeah, I do like over. It's weird how the shift has happened here. Colorado, backdoors USC last week, kind of almost double backdoors them. They almost come back and win. But Arizona State's not very good. They have been scrappy at home. They played USC and covered at home. Colorado, though, it seems like it could be a little bit of a difficult matchup for them. I lean the Buffs here and like the over. Keeping it going, SEC night game, 7 o'clock, Kentucky at Georgia. This game is garnering a lot of interest. Georgia minus 14.5, the total 49. Coach and Nick love Kentucky here. I like Kentucky, but now I'm a little bit worried. Everybody's liking Kentucky. 14.5 seems like an automatic play on Kentucky, but man, Georgia's due to have a really good game at some point, and they haven't had it yet. If this is the week, maybe they cover this. Chris, what do you say?
Well, it's a battle of 5 and O's. I expect this game to be very close, and I don't think there's going to be a ton of points.
Okay.
So I'm going to take the under.
Okay, I can see that. I think that could be very closely played. I think this will be one of the bigger games in Kentucky program history. A small play that I like on a game that nobody would ever care about. Louisiana Monroe Warhawks at home catching 12 against South Alabama. I like that play. So do with that as you wish. That game, I don't even know if it's on television. Probably ESPN Plus. Let's go to a little bit bigger game. Notre Dame on the road at Louisville. A couple undefeateds here in the ACC. Notre Dame minus 6.5, total 54. I lean Louisville here. Sharp money on the Irish. I've been a Louisville backer all season, but something tells me Notre Dame probably gets the job done here, but I'm hoping I can get a touchdown in this game. Chris, where do you come down?
I am going with the under in this game.
Okay.
ND's played some close games. They weren't real high-scoring games, even though Louisville does have a pretty good offense. But I'm gonna go the under. Hopefully the Cardinals win, but I'm going with the under.
Okay, and Coach is on Notre Dame in this game, minus a 6.5.
He fucking loves Notre Dame.
Yeah, he does. He plays them a lot. You think he just plays them for Jeff?
Probably.
So because he thinks we'll be in the pie room cheering for him?
Yeah.
I do think
there's a method.
I think that soaks into his subconscious, even if he doesn't realize it. Back to the SEC. It's the Arkansas Razorbacks at the Ole Miss Rebels. Rebels minus 11.5, total 63.5. Ole Miss in a shootout with LSU last week. Arkansas disappointed us all with a pathetic performance, and I really think this Arkansas team is ready to pack it in for the year right now. I lean Ole Miss here, and this could get really ugly. I think they could absolutely bury Arkansas.
Matt, I'm the same exact with you. Arkansas has lost 3 in a row. I mean, a huge win for Ole Miss with a lot of momentum, and I just don't think 11.5 is enough. So I see them just winning by 4 touchdowns.
That could get real ugly really fast. Arkansas looks like a lost team out there. Michigan at Minnesota. This could be a nap game. Michigan minus 19.5 or early bed. Total 46. Public on Michigan here. I believe Coach is on Michigan. Yes, Coach likes Michigan minus 19.5. I like the under in this game. I think P.J. Fleck and Minnesota stink on offense. I don't think they even maybe score 10 tops in this game. Probably going to be more like 3 or 6. Chris, where do you stand?
Matt, totally agree on it. He doesn't have the horses, P.J. Flex, that is, and they're not good offensively. Michigan defense is pretty goddamn good. And just, for example, like last week they played Nebraska, who was averaging 236 yards on the ground, and they got 106.
Yeah.
So I don't see Minnesota scoring 10 points. And Michigan's not a juggernaut, but they'll cover.
Yeah, I think Michigan's just one of those teams. They're going to beat you in the trenches and just wear you out.
Yep.
And they don't need to win pretty. They're just going to keep winning and winning and winning. And when they need to, kick it in gear and show some more exotic stuff on offense, I think they will. I think they're pretty good at saving stuff for the games that they need it. So they do the bare minimum out there and get the job done anyway. All right, let's go back to the ACC. It's Georgia Tech at my Miami Hurricanes. Miami minus 21. Total 57. Georgia Tech off a terrible loss to Ball State. Georgia Tech team that I was pretty high on. They're transforming their program around where they've been competitive again. But it was an awful loss last week. Miami was off last week. This is kind of a look ahead spot. This thing opened 18 and now it's up to 21. A lot of people on Miami. I would not go that way. I would recommend either Georgia Tech or pass on this game. Miami plays at North Carolina next week. That's a really big game for them. I don't think they're going to go all out to win this game against Georgia Tech at home. They should take care of business and win between 10 and 17 points. Chris, where do you stand on
I
this
think Miami can just name the score. Georgia Tech's their horrible run defense. Miami's pretty good, even though they've only really been challenged once. They had a couple easy games, but it's playing at home. I think they'll run away with this one. So I'm going to take the Canes.
Let's hope so. Coach with no play on that one. TCU at Iowa State. Interesting game here. Both these teams off of losses. TCU losing to the Mountaineers. They will be laying 6.5 on the road here. Total 52.5. Iowa State competed all right with Oklahoma in the first half, but then once Oklahoma made some halftime adjustments, Iowa could not move the ball at all on them, and they fell by 30, I believe. I think it was 50-20 the final. So I don't really have a strong feel in this game. Chris, do you have anything?
I picked TCU, and it's funny you say that about Iowa State because that last week TCU against WVU shut them out in the second half.
Yes,
so
both teams struggled in the second half.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think TCU will bounce back, and they will cover. Iowa State's not very good.
Okay. I have a play on Fresno at Wyoming. Fresno -6 on the road, 45.5. I'll be taking the Cowboys here. It's the second time I've backed them at home. I'm a little bit worried they're going to have to play better than they did the last time. We gave that as a best bet and somehow got a cover or a push depending on your number. So I'll take Wyoming catching around 6 or 6.5. Fresno State's really good, but I'm hoping that the altitude maybe can affect them to the point where Wyoming can cover, and hopefully Wyoming's up for this game because they're going to need to be. Texas Tech at Baylor. Interesting game here. The Red Raiders -1. Total up to 59.5 from 57 opener. Went through 58.5 up to 59.5. Lots of points expected here. Hoping Baylor can keep it rolling. Chris, what do you think?
Well, man, after that huge dramatic comeback last week, is that kind of going to be the impetus that can kind of get them back on track? And they struggled really mightily at the beginning of the season.
Certainly did.
So hopefully they can take that momentum, build off of it, and but I'm going to take Baylor at home.
Yeah, I'm leaning that way too. Obviously, our hearts are a little bit more into that. So be wise there. We may not be the best people to listen to there with a family member on the team. So Pac-12 game. Here we go. Oregon State. We got 2 Pac-12 games to finish it off. The Beavers on the road. Oregon State at California. The Golden Bears. It'll be the Beavers -9.5. Total 51.5. And I went back and forth on this game. I think I want to play this game over because I feel like California's improved a little bit on offense. Their defense isn't quite as good. Oregon State, I think, against weaker defensive teams is going to put up a lot of points. They played a very low-scoring game last week, and their defense showed up in a big win over Utah on Friday night. One of my winning plays of the week, which is very few in college football. Where are you going, Chris? Beavers or Bears?
Beavers. OSU, they're fourth nationally on against the run, and Cal still has some issues at quarterback.
Sure do.
Using 2 different guys.
Yeah, that's usually never going to work.
Yeah, well, they always say if you have 2, you
don't have none. Yeah.
So I'm going to go with, and that was our other. That's our team we like from that Pac-12.
Yes.
So I'm going to go with Oregon State on the road. Despite that, that huge home crowd advantage probably they have at Cal.
Oh boy, yeah, I would say Cal probably has about a crowd like the Tampa Rays.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's not that's not really a football school.
I want the Beavers. Yes.
Yeah. All right. And our final game, 10:30 kick, ESPN, Arizona at USC. USC held on against Colorado last week. They weren't really in doubt of losing it, but they did make it closer than they should have. USC's defense, I was sorry to have to tell Brad McLaughlin this, and he knows it because he doesn't like Lincoln Riley, and he's smart enough to know that this is never going to work. This guy's never going to get you a defense that can win a national title. They got a great offense. Laying 21.5 at home. The total 72. Coach, a heavy play on the under in this game. Where do you stand, Chris?
Well, man, I have the under as well, but I still think the Trojans will cover that spread. And I wonder, and they've won 10 straight over Arizona, but the last 3 games have been 1-score games. But I wonder, and I don't have this stat specific, but I heard him talking on the radio. Dan, who'd they play last week? USC played Colorado. And I think they were up like 42-14 late in the third quarter. And they were talking about then, since that a certain point in that game, they had run 20 plays, that USC, and they said the average time of a play was like 14 seconds. They didn't milk the clock. They just tried to score.
That guy's not a real football coach. He's just not.
And they said, if you would have, taken the play clock down to maybe 2 or 3 seconds, whatever, you could take off another 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, maybe run the ball occasionally too.
Yes, I don't understand.
I'm tired of hearing about how good of a coach that guy is. I don't care if he recruits well or not. Mm-hmm. If you don't recruit on defense and you continue to put your defense at a disadvantage, especially against a high tempo offense like Colorado, so your defense is getting gassed out there. I mean, Colorado's not an easy team. Like they obviously, they're getting better on offense. Like they're going to be even better in a year or two. I expect Colorado, if they were to have stayed in the same conference with USC, I expect them to end up passing USC up as an overall team. Because Deion's going to recruit defense. He knows how important it is. He played defense. Yes. He's going to make an emphasis. Lincoln Riley, to me, is just not a winning coach. He's a hocus pocus offensive guru, and that's it. He will never get a big stop. If you remember those playoff games when he coached Oklahoma, LSU one year just embarrassed them. It was like a 4-touchdown game in the first quarter. He doesn't care. It's bizarre to me. Like a coach just really thinks that his method is going to somehow start working.
Yeah, it's like his offense. He's got the shiny brand new sports car in his garage, but he doesn't have. I mean. Okay, but on the other side, he doesn't have.
On the other side of the garage, he's got a fucking moped or something.
Right. They can't. I don't know. I don't get that. But what is this? His second or third year there? But I mean,
they're great on offense. They have a national championship caliber quarterback in offense. They do, but their coach and their defense is going to continue to let them down, and that's on him. So. I do not expect USC to have any less than 2 losses, maybe 3 by the end of this year. They got a tough schedule coming up.
They're
going to hurt.
Do they go to Notre Dame after this week, don't they? I think they do.
I don't know if it's next or not.
I thought it was.
I know they do at some point, and they still got really tough games ahead. So going to be a long one for USC, I think. They're going to have to figure something out. Maybe call up Wes Slib, see if they can get some tips. But we're going to take a break here on Bettor's Last Stand. We'll be back. We're going to jump into the NHL real quick, talk about a couple season bets that we like, and then NFL Week 5. It's Bettor's Last Stand. We'll be right back.
Bettor's Last Stand is for entertainment purposes only, but who better to listen to than the guys here at the Pine Room? For more picks you might have missed, follow Bettor's Last Stand and all of Matt's picks on X, formerly Twitter, at BLS_PRP. Because just like General Custer, we're in Bettor's Last Stand.
All right, welcome back in Bettor's Last Stand. Matt and Chris here with you, taking you through show number 56. We've done 56 of these, Bettor's Last Stand. So hopefully you found a few winners in those 56 shows. Just circling back really quick, my best bet in college football, I said it wasn't Florida State, but it was. Florida State is my best bet, minus 24.5. Chris's best bet is Texas and Coach is on the over in the Texas-Oklahoma game as his best bets. Now we shift over to NHL. Hard to believe. The NHL is right around the corner. We got games beginning next week. And the Penguins were in action the other night. And they didn't look very good. But it's preseason. I don't know what they're trying to do, but I see a lot of the same problems that were with his team prior, and it concerns me a great deal.
It's hilarious you said that. I was watching the game, too, and thought, just with that power play, it's the same goddamn thing. And, again, it was probably their first full game with most of their everyday guys. But, I mean, it was just – they always look just – for the perfect pass, and there still doesn't seem to be a net front presence. And I think if you're just playing on the perimeter, I don't give a shit how many guys you got out there that are Hall of Famers. It's not going to work, or you're not going to convert at the percentage you should with that kind of talent out there.
Yeah, no question.
And there's a ton of guys, a ton of fans that I just don't think Letang belongs on that first power play.
He doesn't, and I don't even think it's him. That I think he would be fine not being on there. To be honest with
you would hope, and
I don't think Malkin really is in a certain spot, maybe, but I don't. Malkin should actually be playing where Letang is probably.
Yes.
And then they need another guy in front of the net. Obviously, when Gensel comes back, maybe he'll be in front, but he's so small. I mean, he'll probably get killed. I don't know. I think this team's got holes, and I'll just say this. If they're not able to make that power play be in the top 5 in the league, then they should just – they got to get rid of Mike Sullivan. They're going to have to. I don't know. Erik Karlsson has made every power play he's ever been on absolutely lethal. If you remember, even when he was with Ottawa, and even San Jose, who was horrible, their power play was very good.
And it's amazing to think that he was on a terrible Sharks team, and I think last year it might have been his highest point output.
At least equal to, yeah.
Right.
I think he's had 100 maybe twice, but 101.
It's like, my goodness. And, because regardless of, other than last year, the Pens had made the playoffs every year for 16 years. So that power play has never lacked talent. So it's not like, our power play sucks because we got Pascal Dupuis on it. They've had the talent, but I don't know how they don't execute. But
I find it weird though that Mike Sullivan continues to have to appease these other guys.
Yeah,
I don't get it. Like if you remember, you'll remember this. A lot of people may not, but if you remember the Red Wings when they had that really good stretch of run where they were in the finals every year and they were just dominating the conference and in the
when they like the. Datsuk.
When they had Datsuk and Zetterberg, and Lindstrom, they had guys that played on their power play. Perfect example, Tomas Holmstrom. If you remember him, he was a 3rd and 4th line player, but on the power play, he played in front of the net, and he was exceptional. So you don't have to put your 5 best guys out there. It's about the way that they mesh together. And even I'll give the Capitals credit. They would have guys on their power play from time to time who weren't on their top lines that fit a role. Now they've changed a little bit as times went on, where they got Oshie and obviously Ovechkin and Karlsson and then obviously Backstrom. But there's teams that decide to use guys in roles, and that's where I always thought it was important. I even think the Penguins, when they had Mario, had a few guys like that who would slot in on the power play, even if they didn't play up with the top guys. Like it's a whole different style of play.
Yeah, because you could, and he wasn't on the power play a whole lot. But for instance, you said with Mario, you could plug a guy in there like Bob Airey,
John Cullen,
guys like that, and you don't have to have 5 Hall of Famers. And you're right, though, it's the way they fit and the roles that they play. But I get so freaking tired of just watching the Penguins pass it around.
It's terrible.
And
it's
just
really
pass it. Like, my goodness. That's got to change. Like you said, appeasing these players because they've been there that long. And obviously Sid's going to be on the number 1 power play.
Well, he should be because he's got the skill set for
it. Right.
But then he plays out of position half the time because they have to make Malkin happy.
Well, yeah, and so if they just decide we're going to change up Malkin, you're on the 2nd power play, then he'll sulk like he normally does.
Correct.
And I'm not sure about what Letang thinks, but I just don't.
I think
like
Letang would be fine either way. I really don't think he's going to be that big of a problem. He's never been a great power play producer and player anyway because he doesn't really have a shot, and he's not. I don't know. His quarterbacking skills are not that great either. So he's not. And it's nothing against his game. That's what I mean. His shot is weak. He's a wrist shooter. He's not. He doesn't really. He's not the kind of guy that drives the point of a power play. He's not Sergei Gonchar. He's obviously not Larry Murphy, and he's not Erik Karlsson. So they got a guy. They have Karlsson. To me, the most sensible thing is to move Malkin to the other point. Now, you take a risk there because you got 2 guys who aren't very accountable on defense, Karlsson and Malkin. So it's going to be very important that when you shoot the puck, you hit the net, and that you don't try to overpass because that will create a ton of problems in the back. So maybe that's why Sullivan's got Letang out there to be a safety net, maybe so, because he can skate well enough to maybe get back. But they got to find a guy that can go in front. I heard Madden suggest Jeff Carter. There's a perfect example of a guy who's pretty much used up in his career, but maybe he finds a new role in front of the net on the power play. He's got great hands still.
Yes, he still has the skill with the hands.
Right.
His legs he doesn't, but
they won't try.
But you don't need But you don't need him. You're right, and if he played on the power play, whenever you get, I don't know, average 3 or 4 power plays a game, get him out there and
get some more ice time.
Yes, and because he's a skilled hockey player.
Yeah, he's just his legs are just going.
He's just older in his leg, but you don't really need your legs that much to be parked in front of the goalie.
Yeah, I'm a little bit dubious of the Penguins' power play. I'm just a little bit worried about it. And the weirdest thing is when they had one decent run of power play like a couple of years ago, and it was when a bunch of guys were hurt and Jared McCann had to play on the power play, and he shot the puck literally every time he got it, and it actually translated into goals somehow.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's been a dismal power play. It's really frustrating.
Well, that's the thing. It gets so goddamn frustrating to watch, thinking, man, they got all these guys out here and they can't do anything.
Yeah, and I'm a big person, and we'll talk about this as the season goes on, is power play points on these sports books. You can get very good prices on these. Over a half, you get a lot of plus money on these. So if you can identify a few teams that have good power plays early in the season, and if you can play that's a bad error there, but Texas guy. Texas now leaving the door open here, a couple on for the Rays. That's a can of corn, or at least he's got to field it and get one out. Oh, bad. But that's a hidden market, I think, that people haven't caught on to yet, is power play points. So we'll talk more about it. But the Penguins are not going to be a team that I'm going to be backing, at least for a while, because they got to prove to me that they can actually put the puck in the net.
Yes.
Couple of teams that I'm interested in from a season-long perspective. I like 3 teams under their point total, and I like 2 teams over. I like the Panthers under the 98. I think they're kind of running out of steam, if you ask me. I think they were fortunate to have made it through a deep run last year, obviously. I'm not. I think 98's a high total in that division. So I'll be leaning the Panthers under. That's going to be one of my plays. I like the Wild under 96.5. Kaprizov is really good. Other than that team's not very good. They were awful in the playoffs last year. 96 is just super high for them. Mm-hmm. I think they'll be lucky to get 90. Still maybe a playoff team. I would be betting them to miss the playoffs, but I don't love that. 96.5 I think is outrageous. So I'll be going under for the Wild on their point total. And then the Carolina Hurricanes, 108. That is a high number in a division that's this good. You got the Rangers up and coming. You got the Devils up and coming. You have the Penguins with a resurgence, if you believe in that. And then you have some other teams that are, the Islanders are never terrible. The Capitals, I feel like, are a team that is going to get overlooked. They did a little mini rebuild in the middle of the season when at the trade deadline, kind of dumped some guys, acquired some assets, kind of restructured the team. I think they'll be a little bit improved. Columbus has talent. The coaching situation isn't good for them, so I don't know what's going to happen with that and how they'll respond. I don't think the Flyers will be any good, but I think that's a really hard division, and 108 points to me seems way too high. So I'm going to be playing Carolina under 108. And then a couple of overs. I think Detroit is a team that's up and coming. I had them on some bets last year. They couldn't quite get over the hump, but I like them over their 85 points. And the Ottawa Senators team, Chris, you and I discussed, they're pretty good. Again, good goalie. They got some really tough two-way players, Kachuk, and they got, I don't know, something about Ottawa. Yes. They're a tough team to play against. I think they exceed expectations and go above the 92-point mark. Any thoughts on any of these teams' point totals?
Well, man, I just briefly looking at it, and one team in the Atlantic that I think will go under their point total is the Boston Bruins.
I agree with that. That's a good one.
They lost Orlov, Bergeron, and Bertuzzi, and I'm just it's always interesting to see what a team does the year after winning the President's Trophy, right. and then they lost in the first round, right?
So disappointing,
yeah. And I just, and
was their goaltending a fluke? It seemed,
yeah,
like it.
and they what was it? Who'd they have? Swayman, and I think
Olmark.
Yeah, I mean they'll be good enough to make the playoffs, but yeah. I definitely would think them under 101 or whatever it is, and I like an up-and-coming team here. I do like the Buffalo Sabres.
Yes, I had the Sabres star too. I thought their point total was a little bit too, just slightly high.
Yeah.
93, 94. I thought that'll be that, but I do think they're a playoff team. I have them circled as a playoff team for sure. I think they're very dangerous. I think you got 3 teams in that Atlantic division. The Senators, the Wings, and the Sabres that are now going to start to push these other teams. As you mentioned, the Bruins are going to backslide a little bit. I think the Panthers are going to backslide. The Lightning are getting a little bit old. They'll still be good, though. To me, Toronto, clear-cut winner of that division, but they don't have the goaltending. They'll lose in the playoffs again. I have no faith in them at all. But they will win that division, though. They'll just pull away because they're talented enough. Metro, as we said, I think it's up for grabs. Probably Devils, maybe Rangers. I like to think the Penguins, but they really don't have a chance. And then
don't think so.
Going out west, Chris, anything interest you in the West? I kind of like Dallas a little bit, and I'm down on the Wild. And I think the Vancouver Canucks will surprise a little bit.
I'm down on the Flames. I just don't think they have enough. I don't I don't think that they'll reach that. What is it, 95? That's what I'm looking
at.
Yeah,
yep. Flames around 95.5. Yep.
Yeah. So they better bank on Markstrom, the Jacob Markstrom, to be a lot better. But I'm fading them, and I still like the Avalanche.
Yeah, no, I mean you got to think they're going to be healthier this year, and they'll be back.
You know what though, I do like them, but over 106. No,
I'm that's high. That's high.
Yeah.
And
they still don't have Landeskog, do they?
No, he'll be back at some point, but it may be late in this year. So Bochy making the move here. Evaldi goes 6+, 7-1.
Well, here comes the big comeback, 7-1 now.
It's not going to be good for me.
No.
Just going back to your Sabres here before we move on. I like that the goalie for the Sabres, the young kid, Devin Levi. He's going to be. I think he's going to be a star. I like him. 12-1, maybe a shot to win the Calder Trophy. So if the Sabres are really good, he could be the guy leading them. So.
Yeah, they're kind of an exciting team to watch. Plus, they added a couple of under the radar additions. They got defenseman Eric Johnson.
Yep.
I mean, he was a former number one pick, I think.
Yeah,
and then Connor Clifton as well. So they'll bring some stability to that roster. So I'm going to take them over.
I like it. I think the Sabres, Derek the intern will be happy. Our intern.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
he's a big Buffalo guy. So all right, before we switch over to NFL, let's talk a couple of things that happened this week. Caesars took a $240,000 wager on the New Orleans Saints -3 against the Buccaneers. God, that's what a terrible bet that was.
Yeah, I saw that. That's.
Yeah, just horrible.
Saints suck.
But if you have that kind of money, I guess you don't care. The Miami Heat went from a 6-1 choice to win the NBA title back up to 25-1 after Damian Lillard ended up with the Bucks. So that was something that turned the NBA landscape upside down. I saw James Harden actually reported to training camp. I don't know how fat he is now, but he is there. I'm surprised.
I thought he wasn't going to.
No, he went there today.
Okay.
I saw it. He didn't go yesterday, but he showed up today, they said. So, Mattress Mac gets down $2 million on the Astros to win the World Series at 6-1 as his furniture promotion continues for another season. The winning ticket would pay $12 million, so that is a hedge for him who gives away free furniture out there in Houston. So a hell of a lot of furniture to be hedging for $12 million, but that's awesome for those people around that area. There's a lot of people that have gotten free shit around the Houston area for a long time with all the success the Astros have had in Mattress Mac. So gotta love that. It's a really good thing. I like that. Couple of bad beats. We had running the first inning yesterday. If you had that in the Phillies game, they had second and third, no outs. The third base coach holds up Schwarber at third on a base hit to right field, and I thought Schwarber was going to body slam him, but he stopped.
What?
Yeah.
Stopped?
Yeah, he stopped. Yeah, base hit to right. Schwarber gets the brakes put on, and then they end up striking out Harper, and then he got the last two guys to pop out. So that was a bad one. If you had running the first, yes, you had to be kind of sick about that. You could at least have got a sack fly, anything. That was a tough one. And then Kansas City -9.5. Sunday Night Football against the Jets. Mahomes kneels down at the end of the game instead of trying to score. Would have covered the spread for the Chiefs. Would have been a bloodbath for the sports books. We were able to at least get by with that one.
Yeah, I read about that, man. I didn't see the actual play, but I mean, that wasn't like egregious, was it?
That was the right play.
Yeah, because then they keep the ball and run the clock out.
Yeah,
right?
It's over. Yeah. You don't extend the game anymore.
Yes.
Yeah. Smart play by Mahomes, but you wouldn't expect anything less. And then the Travis Swift saga continues. Betting markets accounted for over 20% of all wagers on Travis Kelce stuff. 14% of the total handle on that game against the Jets on Sunday Night Football was involving a Travis Kelce prop of some kind. So imagine that. And NBC showed Taylor Swift 17 times in the box. It's incredible. So, yeah, we got that to look forward to. Real quick, too, AFL concluded last week. Collingwood beats Brisbane in the grand final 90-86. I actually had 4 out of 5 winners in that game. Had some player props in there. So AFL's in the books. I'll be sad that's gone, but it'll be back hopefully before I know it. All right, time for the NFL, what everybody's been waiting for. We got NFL to go through here, the card, and then we got Sam coming up in the final segment of the show, talking racing as he always does. Thursday night game, where it'll be last night. I don't know. The public's on the under in the game. I don't know. I don't know what to think here. I would lean Commanders, but they played well last week. I don't know what to think. Any quick opinions on that one, Chris?
You know what? I would go with the over on that.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just leave it at that.
Well, I shouldn't say two bad teams, but one
really bad team and one badly coached team. So, London. We're back in London, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday morning. It'll be 9:30. Newcastle, UK was rocking today as they returned to the Champions League for the first time in 20 years. It was an incredible spectacle. If you didn't see it, check it out. Jacksonville at Buffalo, which is actually Jacksonville's the road team, but they are at home. Second straight week they're in London, so they'll have the time difference settled in. They're 2 weeks there. Buffalo minus 5.5, total 48.5. Buffalo's been looking great.
Yeah.
Sharp money on the why was I going to say the Bruins? Buffalo Bills. I didn't say the Sabres.
Right.
The Buffalo Bills minus 5.5. I lean the Bills, but Jacksonville was okay last week, and this is kind of a home game for them.
I'm going to take Jacksonville getting 5.5.
Okay.
I think Bills will win.
Win by field goal.
Yep, something like that. Last second field goal.
Coach on the under 48.5. That's where he'll be going in that game. Let's go to a 1 o'clock kick. Houston, Texas on the road at the Atlanta Falcons. Falcons minus 1, total 42. Houston off a absolute beatdown of the Steelers. Atlanta has not been very good lately. They were terribly bad last week against Jacksonville. This to me says the Falcons. I don't have any faith in this team. I know you and Coach are pretty high on them. I'm not high on them. I worry about them here. I do think the spot favors the Falcons, but they're coming back from London, so maybe it doesn't. I can't play the Texans off that big win. I feel like there's a definite letdown coming, so I'm going with the under, Chris. What do you think?
Well, with everything you say, I don't know who the hell to pick, but but I like the Texans. I mean, goddamn, they manhandled the Steelers.
Good.
I don't know how good the Steelers are. Actually, they're not very good. But the one rookie quarterback that seems to be standing out is C.J. Stroud. So
yes, he is.
I'm going to go with the Texans.
Okay. Coach, heavy, his best bet on the Texans. So I like the Texans. High on them for all year. I just don't know about the spot here, but we shall see. I think they're much better than Atlanta and much better coach. Carolina on the road at the Detroit Lions. Lions minus 9.5, total 45. Coach on the Lions here. He loves the Lions. I think he bets them every week. I don't love anything in this game. I think the Lions absolutely win the game from that standpoint. Carolina, I bet them every week, and they never turn out for me. They blew a lead last week, and they really should have won the game.
But they won a game.
No, they're winless. But they should have won last week. They really gave that game away. Some really bad decision making by Bryce Young. If I can get 10, maybe I'll lean Carolina. If not, I'm passing. What are you doing, Chris?
I'm going with the Detroit Lions. I just think with the Carolina being winless, and Bryce Young's far from showing anything yet, so I think Detroit at home.
Yep, agreed. All right, Titans on the road at the Colts. Colts minus 1, total 42.5. Titans manhandled the Bengals. Easy win there, start to finish. Colts were horrible early, then they came back, tied the game, and then lost in overtime. I don't like the Colts at all. I don't really like the Titans. In this spot, I do lean the Colts, though. I would recommend the Colts here. I think they bounce back and win this game. The Titans, to me, are a team that never plays 2 good games in a row. They played good last week. I expect a down tick this week. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to go against you. They're going to play 2 games in a row good.
All right.
So I
Vrabel. All right.
Yeah. So go into the Colts, and it'll be a relatively close game, but I think the Titans and did Richardson did play last week, didn't he?
He played. Yeah.
But I don't know if that would make a difference. But I'm going to go with the Titans.
Yeah. I think that'll be a very tight game. Whoever can not fuck up the most will win. Giants. Oh God, the Giants on the road to Dolphins. Dolphins minus 11 to total 50. Dolphins finally ran into a buzzsaw last week with the Buffalo Bills at home, so Dolphins got put back in their place a little bit. Coach really likes the under in this game. Boy, it just looks too easy to play the Dolphins. They got to win this game by 20 at least. The Giants are maybe the worst team in the NFL. They're in the mix at least. Terrible performance by them on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, it was dreadful.
Where do you stand here, Chris?
You're right, Matt. It does look too easy, but I don't give a shit. I'm taking the Dolphins. I mean, just based on – they got boat race last week. I mean, they started out well.
Yep.
Yeah, they're going to be pissed. Go back down home and and the Giants they're just really, really bad. And then to get embarrassed on Monday night at home.
Yeah.
So I'm going with the Dolphins, and that's my strong play or
your best bet.
Best bet. Yep,
okay,
that's
Chris's
what I'm gonna
best
do.
bet. All right, the Dolphins. All right, let's make a note of that. Chris's best bet. And we move along. The Saints at the Patriots. Patriots minus 1.5. The total 40. Sharp money on the under here. I'm on the under too, and I'm not sharp money, but I'm on the under. Coach is on New England, although I swear he told me he's never betting them again last week. But
the Patriots,
that's going to be my best bet is the Saints and Patriots under the total of 40. Do you have any thoughts on this great game?
Well, this is our NCAA or the NFL equivalent of the nap game.
Yeah,
so,
you're right about that.
There's no intrigue to this game. I think both teams are lousy, and I second you with the under. These teams don't score, bad quarterback play, and
yeah, New England took its worst loss ever under Belichick last week, if you can believe that. And I believe, I don't have it written down, I didn't put it on the notes for this week, but the Saints, I think, have played like double-digit straight games under. So there's definitely a strong trend there. So check that out before you bet this game. But I like the under. That's going to be my best bet. All right, and moving on to a game that I already know what the outcome's going to be. Everybody's telling me how the Ravens are going to win this game. They're minus 3.5 on the road at the Steelers. Total 38. Coach is on the under. I'm on the under. But if I had to make a bet in this game, the teams, I'd play Pittsburgh plus the 3.5. This series is always a field goal game, and it always, when the team who comes in the favorite in this game always seems to stumble and the other team wins. So if everything's going right for one team, everything's going wrong for the other, the team that everything's going wrong for usually comes out on this side. I hope that's not the case. The Ravens are really beat up, though. They can't keep winning these games. Steelers were absolutely humiliated last week. Weren't even in the game at all. I don't know, Chris. What are you thinking on this one?
I hate to agree with you on that, but the Steelers at home and trying to recover after last week's beatdown, and how good are the Ravens? I mean, I know they're beat up now. They're good, but I don't know. They kind of just toyed with the Browns last week because of their quarterback situation, and they did what they wanted against them. But I hope it's like 16-15 Ravens. But I'm going to take the Steelers getting 3.5.
Yeah, that's the way I would lean too.
Because you're right. It seems like every one of these games,
and it's at Pittsburgh, and these idiots will be waving them stupid towels, and here we go, Steelers, here we go. Oh my God, so annoying.
Well, stay away from those Steeler fans then.
Yeah, well, hopefully most of them gave up on the season. Another team in the AFC North struggling along is the Bengals on the road to the Cardinals. I didn't understand this when the Bengals opened up almost minus a touchdown in this game. It's now down to -3, the total 44.5. Arizona fought valiantly last week. They were down really bad, and they came back and made it close, and then couldn't get it done late against the 49ers, which is no shame in that. Cincinnati, to me, I'll be continuing to fade them. I don't know how they lay points on the road here. I know Arizona stinks, but to me, Josh Dobbs makes enough plays. I think they're dangerous, and I think the Bengals are starting to lose confidence.
Yeah, Christ, he's made more plays than Joe Burrow this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Bengals, Matt. I mean, they're 1-3. I mean, they're freaking desperate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but they have looked terrible. So I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that this is their one
game.
Yeah, a must win on the road, and
yeah.
I'll give the 3.
Okay. Philadelphia on the road at the Rams. Eagles -4, total 50.5. Rams off an overtime win last week. The Rams are a team that I think has actually been very, I don't want to say impressive because that's not the word.
Well, they're surprising.
They've been better than expected this year. Stafford has a couple of weapons. He's getting some decent protection, and he's still got a good arm. So I give the guy credit. Their defense isn't quite where it needs to be, but I think they're dangerous here for the Eagles. I think the Eagles maybe can win this game, but, man, it's going to be tight. I want to really play the Rams here. I don't love that play. I kind of was leaning towards the under in the game, but I think that the Rams will score some points. So
I do too.
I don't have a great feel in this game. I would lean the Rams +3, 4, 3.5, 4, somewhere in there. Hopefully it goes up Where are you going here?
I'm going with the Rams.
Okay.
I mean, they've been a pleasant surprise. I know when we did the preview show in the NFL, I mean, I was way down on the Rams. I thought they were going to be awful, but they've been pretty surprising, and I think they're going to play. They're going to play the Eagles very tough here.
Okay.
And the Eagles haven't looked dominating at all yet.
Not at all. Coach on Philly heavy here. So
okay.
I don't see it that way, but we'll see. Jets on the road at the Broncos. What a game this is. This is another nap game. Broncos -2, total 43. I can't back the Broncos. To me, they won despite their performance last week in the Bears' complete meltdown.
They were kind of gifted that game.
Absolutely gifted. Justin Fields makes these plays that he just gives. He handed the ball to the other team twice.
Yes, he did.
Like I'm shocked that guy can still be playing, but I don't have a whole lot of confidence in the Jets. They played hard in that game against the Chiefs. Chiefs kind of just knew they were going to win that game, really. I lean Jets here, but I don't love it. I can't recommend anything too strong. What do you think?
I like the Jets, and I think maybe they have to feel good, at least for 1 week. I mean, how Zach Wilson played. He did play a pretty good game.
Yeah.
It looked good, and so that they could be encouraged by that. But the Broncos are awful. They should be winless. That game last week, they was just basically giving it to them on a platter. And the Jets got a pretty formidable defense. So I'm going to take them giving it 2. Getting 2.
Yeah, getting 2. Maybe it goes up a little bit more somehow. The Jets maybe can frustrate Russell Wilson into some turnovers, maybe keep themselves in the game. All right, the Chiefs. Taylor Swift phenomenon on the road at Minnesota. Chiefs -5. Total 53. To me, the Chiefs, if they want to put the throttle down on this game, they're going to win it easily. But if they don't, Minnesota maybe hangs around. I'm sure Cousins will have some stats that'll look good late in the game. Maybe backdoor cover if the Chiefs are up a touchdown or something, or up 10, maybe lose the game by 3 or 4. I don't love anything here. I would lean Kansas City. What are you saying?
I would think Kansas City, but I think there'll be a lot of points in this game. So I'm going to take the over.
Okay. I think that could be possible. Moving along. Our night game, which is a really good game. Yeah, Dallas at San Francisco. Although I don't know about Dallas, but on paper it's a good game. San Francisco -3.5 at home. The total 45. I like the under in this game a good bit. I think they'll frustrate Dak Prescott. I think Shanahan, I'm not a big fan of his, but he's better than McCarthy. And 49ers, to me, have been maybe the best team in the league, or one of the best, top 5 at least. So I'll be leaning to the Niners, but I like the under in the game. Chris, where do you come down?
Well, I like the Niners, but they might be looking ahead next week because they're playing at the Browns.
Oh, well, that's very possible.
So
trap game.
I got to go with San Fran. We say this just about every goddamn week about Mike McCarthy. I don't see him taking his troops out there, and offensively they're not, just with Dak Prescott. So I think the Niners are going to just keep it rolling.
Okay,
and
I'm with you.
I'll give the 3.5.
Yeah, I would lean that way too.
I think they'll win by about 10 points.
I think the 49ers are just less mistake prone than Dallas, and I think that'll be the difference in the game. But if Dallas is able to beat them this time, rest assured the rematch in the playoffs won't turn out the same. So Big Mike. All right, and then Monday Night Football. It's the Packers at the Raiders. Packers -2 on the road, total 44. There'll be a ton of cheeseheads in the Death Star Stadium there in Las Vegas. I like Green Bay here. Coach, heavy on the Raiders, though. I don't know what would give him the confidence to play them, but I think the Packers, this is like a home game to them. I don't think they're very good, but I think the Raiders are teetering on the brink of falling apart to where McDaniels is going to get canned. So this is a big game for them, but I like Green Bay.
Because of what you just said about the Raiders, I think they're ready to, just like you said, implode. Pack it in, and I don't think their coach. I don't think he's a leader. He that is just like an rudderless ship, not utter.
Well, utterly rudderless.
Right, exactly. So I'm not sure about the Packers. I'd like to see the Packers win, but I'm going to play the game under.
Okay, I think that's all right.
Play the game under.
Green Bay, they're a hard team to figure. Yeah. I don't love their quarterback, but he's not the worst, but he's not great.
No,
but I think he can make enough plays against that team to maybe win. But I agree. I think both teams will find points hard to come by. At least Green Bay's defense, if it ever plays up to potential, it should be pretty good. But
I meant to mention to you on Sunday, because we always joke that Bakhtiari guy's hurt.
Yeah, it's every week. It's every fucking week. I'm just tired of these guys. They never play.
Yeah,
they never play, and he just continues to collect the salary. I got to get on that plan somehow. Anyway, just a couple things. Josh Allen's now the favorite to win MVP, about plus 380. The Bears are consistently the consensus worst power rated team across bookmakers across the world. Winless ATS teams, the Giants are 0-4. They've led for a total of 19 seconds this year.
Jeez.
And the one was when they came back and beat the Cardinals.
Yeah.
That was their only win. Bengals 0-3-1 ATS, and then the public money flying in on the Dolphins, Bills, 49ers, Texans, Lions, Chiefs, Ravens, Redskins, and Jets. I don't really understand that, but anyway. All right, that does it for the NFL this week. I hope we found some winners there for you. Another really riveting card. Chris and I can't wait. It's just so exciting. We're going to come back and talk about something that I actually am excited about, and that's racing. We got the Charlotte Roval this week. We got the Qatari Grand Prix. We'll be back on Bettor's Last Stand after the break with Sam the Man from Upper St. Clair to talk racing. We'll be right back.
Reminder, this show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. All wagering activities should only be conducted by those 21 years of age or older and within the confines of federal, state, and local law. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, contact 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537. All right, men, load the cannons and hold the line. You're listening to Bettor's Last Stand.
All right, welcome back in. Bettor's Last Stand. Matt and Chris here with you in the Pine Room Studios. Coach out on high school golf duty as he wraps up the state tournament up at Oglebay, West Virginia State Boys Golf Tournament. He's up there presenting the awards. So it's Chris and Matt here with you. And now we're joined by Sam the Man from Upper St. Clair. He's got a West Virginia hat on right now.
Yeah.
He's getting pumped up. But I really like that shirt that's hanging in the background there. The Miami Hurricanes. Let's go. Sam, always a pleasure to see you, buddy. How's everything going this week up north?
Things are great, Matt and Chris. It's always good when you come home from work and there's playoff baseball already going. Yeah. You know,
yes,
you don't have to think about what you're going to watch. You know, how am I going to occupy my time? It's settled. It's good.
Yes.
So
and the Rays are about to bow out, Sam. Boy,
I know.
Glass
now just got shelled.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
And how about how bad their defense? 4 errors.
Yeah. It's just that's such a baseball thing, man. Great team. You just. I don't know. I don't even know.
Well, Chris was talking about that in one of our earlier segments about they play all this time, all these games. They have the second best record in the American League, and they're going home after 2 days.
It's crazy. It's like it's one of those things that if like the Mets scooted into the playoffs, like they'd just sweep everybody.
Right.
You know, the opposites happen.
Yeah,
right.
You just don't know. Like and Texas looks like they're kind of catching fire. They got 2 great pitching performances out of guys who had been shaky late in the year in Evaldi and Montgomery, but good for them. Now they're, I think, a contender, but.
And you know, these two games. I mean, even if you were a Tampa fan and you went to both games, you didn't even get to see good baseball.
No,
it's been fucking always like a spring training game.
No, the Rangers really have been in control of both games.
No. Yeah. Hey Sam, you got hats off to Bruce Bochy. The guy is good.
I know. I was talking with a buddy last night. It's like, where are the Pirates when Bruce Bochy's available to get hired? You know?
Right. Yeah.
They gotta.
Do you think they keep Shelty? They got it.
Really?
Matt, I do. I think they ended the year too strong.
Oh, boy.
And I know that's not even that. It wasn't even that strong, but
yeah, strong enough, I guess.
Hey Sam, you look like you got a nice fucking playoff beard going in October. What's it going to look like when we're in the Stanley Cup?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure
because I was.
Yeah, this week it's hot because we get this summer weather all of a sudden again. But you know we're getting some real football weather coming up, so it's staying.
50s by the weekend.
Yes.
Man.
Ooh, thing of beauty.
Yes, agreed. It's a perfect time of year, as you mentioned. Playoff baseball, nothing better. Chill in the air. Starting to get dark early. It's just my kind of time.
Yes, it's beautiful.
I'm pretty pumped up. All right, let's stick on baseball here briefly. You watched the games last night. The Brewers, typical Brewers. Have so many chances to build that lead for Burns, and they can't, and they end up blowing it. But the D-backs are pesky, And then the Twins finally win a game, first time in, I think, 18. And then the Fish, they just can't timely hit enough, and the Phillies are tough to beat at home. Thoughts and observations on these wild card series?
I'll start with Philly. I think the home crowd is definitely going to is a big factor. I know it's like they're not the ones playing. The players got to do the work, but I mean, it's definitely factoring in. The Marlins are good. I think Jarrett's Fish are done. Yeah. I can't see it happening.
Yeah, that's going to be tough. I think they may be able to win tonight, but I wouldn't expect them to win the series.
Yeah.
It's going to be too tough.
And on to the Twins. The Twins game was awesome. The Twins, they looked good. Correa's play was sick to save that run. Yes. It was so heads up,
That's crazy. It reminds me of the Jeter play against Giambi, and that was what it turned out. And if they make a deep run, that's what they'll be thinking about.
Yeah, and it's funny to think both the teams that wanted to sign the superstar to that mega deal, they're not in the playoffs. You get him in the playoffs at a bargain, quote unquote, and making plays, man.
Yeah, no question. And then Milwaukee, same old Milwaukee.
Yes, but one thing stuck out to me. Carlos Santana did some good things, and it was like, oh, man, I remember him.
He's still all right. Like, he is.
Good, man.
I mean, I don't know if the Pirates ended up getting anything that will be beneficial down the road back from that trade, but he's a free agent, isn't he, at the end of the year?
The rumor is Santana's at first. I know. Yeah. Then you don't have anywhere for Triolo, and then it's just Triolo needs to play. I stand by that.
Okay, I'll take a shot with that.
I agree, and hopefully because I think he's got a pretty good glove, and he seems to be a pretty good hitter for average. If they can get him to the point where he can maybe hit 15 home runs, 15, 20 home runs, right. Put him at first base.
That's what I'm saying.
Where's Henry Davis playing next year?
I don't know, Matt. He's probably not. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll worry about that in April.
Fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It is, Chris. The whole thing's dumb. That's why it's just hard to believe. It's just hard to believe. As much as you want to, it's just hard. But
it is.
All right, let's move it on to the racing circuits here. Let's start with the open wheel. F1 was off last week. They were last in Japan, where Max Verstappen returned to the top of the podium in Suzuka with a victory. We now head to a track that we haven't been to a whole lot, and as we go to Qatar, and Lewis Hamilton was the winner last time out here, I think in 2021. Sam, what do you know about this circuit? I'm not very familiar with it, to be quite honest with you. The Lusail International Circuit in Qatar.
So here's the honest truth. I don't really remember much about this race. I was shocked when I looked at the numbers, and it was like, oh, they've raced here one time.
Once, yeah.
It's like, all right, so Lewis won. That just means nothing to me now. That's great. But I think that something like the Alpines, again, look at them for the top 10. Mm-hmm. Just basing it off of how they've ran this year and this race, even though the cars are different and everything's pretty much different. I think Fernando could be up there in the top 5.
Yeah, he was third here last time.
Yeah, I would maybe look at somebody like George getting up there because, you look at the numbers from the last F1 race, and George wasn't up there, but he crashed.
Right.
So.
Yeah, so you got to kind of throw that one out. And then Valtteri Bottas finished last in this race, but he had an under tray issue. So but he was still running it for 48 laps. So, yeah, I think the Mercedes seemed to be pretty strong there. Where do you see the McLarens fitting in here? Are they like a top 6 type level, or what are you thinking? I
think one of them will be. I think it will be Lando.
Yeah.
Because I just think Oscar's not familiar.
Yeah, no, it's going to be tough. I mean, you're not going to have a whole lot of familiarity from a lot of these guys here.
No.
Verstappen finished second the last time they were here, but Lewis Hamilton led 57 laps, all 57 of them, and he won by 25 seconds. So, obviously an easy drive there, but if Verstappen can get out in the front there, I expect him to probably do the same. Where does Sergio Perez go? I don't know. We talked last week about him. He's, I don't know. It seems like he's got one foot out the door almost, just trying to get to the end, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. He's, like we've talked, he's starting to open his mouth, and it's definitely not what he should be doing. I'm sure the Red Bull people just love it. They're just, keep adding. It's all we need to replace you. But I think Daniel Ricciardo is going to replace him. I really do.
Okay,
I really do.
Strong take. I think that could be an interesting pick there. Daniel ran 12th here at the Qatari Grand Prix the last time out. So I don't know. Anybody else on your radar is maybe a surprise? Probably not. It's tough to do that here.
It was tough, Matt. I'd love to make something up, but I was looking at like Yuki and I was looking at all that, and it's just it's not possible.
Where will Lance Stroll finish? 12th?
Oh man,
11th, 12th?
11th. I'm going to say 11th or DNF.
Yeah, I think he's
it's one or the other.
11th more than any racer in the history of motorsports. 11th is just like his perfect spot, right outside the points.
Yep.
The best of the worst, I guess.
Good enough to stick around, though.
Exactly. All right, so let's go as we leave open wheel, we leave open wheel and we go to stock cars, and they're on a track that would be cool if the open wheel F1 guys would come to the Charlotte Roval. That'd be pretty sweet. I'd love to see him get on that banking and then have to slow down. Wouldn't that be something? Charlotte Roval, I like this course. I know a lot of people don't like it, but I think it's very unique. It tests your skills in a lot of different ways. And I'm expecting a really exciting race here as the points get down to the very end. You got guys Kyle Busch, Ross Chastain, Bubba Wallace, and Tyler Reddick below the cut line here. Brad Keselowski, Kyle Larson, Martin Truex, and Chris Busch are the last four guys in that top 8 right now. Sam, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on the Roval and some guys that you're interested in this weekend.
Matt, I'm totally in the same boat with you. I love the Roval. It doesn't strike me as like a regular street course because obviously it's not, but it just you get the feel of, oh, this is NASCAR because they do the banking, but they don't slow down to a point where you're like, all right. Yeah. Like the Chicago street race that had some turns, it was, it was good. Shane Van Gisbergen won, but it was good.
Yeah.
But some guys that I like here. So all the guys that are on the brink of elimination can run well on street courses.
Yeah, Tyler Reddick sticks out immediately.
Yes, but Reddick sticks out to me, and somebody that's not in the playoffs that sticks out to me is Joey Logano.
Yeah.
Joey Logano sticks out to me like a sore thumb. He's ran well here. Last year he did. I want to say he led, let's see. Yeah, 27 laps Joey Logano led.
Yeah.
So, and he started first.
Yeah, so he was very strong here. His rating was pretty high. So, I mean, that's something that I looked at him, and I also thought another guy that was not a playoff driver that has
Alex
run well
Bowman.
here is, yes, him. He was going to be one of my dark horse plays. I really, really like him a lot. And
Matt.
The Hendrick team with Chase Elliott, too, I think is a strong play here. I think they got several cars here. Kyle Larson's won here before. William Byron's run well here, and obviously Bowman and Elliott. So those guys definite contenders. But I'm with you on the Logano. I think he's definitely dangerous. Chris, what are you thinking about the Roval so far?
I like it, and I think it's exciting. And I'm going to go with Chase Elliott. And I was looking at last year's results, and he had led 30 of the laps in that race, and if he's ever going to, I mean, he's run out of races to salvage a shitty season. He hasn't won yet. So he ran very well there last year. So I'm going to go with Chase, the number 9.
Yeah, Chris Bell won this one the last time out. Kevin Harvick, another guy that hasn't won. He's getting down to the end of his career here. So you got a lot of guys. You got Elliott, Harvick, Logano, all dangerous win contenders for guys who are, not really obviously in the playoffs now. But I don't know, Sam. Dark horse guys. Anybody else to you that's worth a look? Any of the playoff drivers? I thought Kyle Busch was interesting.
Yeah, Busch has ran well here, but he's got some weird mojo going too. You're not really hearing anything out of Richard Childress Racing.
No, it's bizarre too. He's had a lot of bad luck recently. Right now he stands to be the guy who's furthest out of the playoff mix to try to make it to the next round. So he's really gonna have to have a strong run and get some luck to or maybe just win it to get through. But so I thought maybe he was worth a look. Who else are you looking at?
Well, this is a little bit of a dark horse, I guess. Not to win it, but just for a top 5, I would say, or even a top 10 is Justin Haley. He's got great numbers, and he was 5th last year. And the numbers are so good if you got a couple bucks.
No, I agree with you.
Don't be afraid to lose it.
I think me and you have talked before. I think Justin Haley's actually a talented driver. I do. I think he's pretty good. He's good. He's good on a lot of tracks. He's good on the big tracks. He's good on these road course tracks. I see no reason why not throw a few dollars on him, throw a few bucks on Alex Bowman. Your boy Eric Jones, who's been running all right. He's run well here in the past. I think he's worth a look at a top 10 or something along those lines. One guy I wanted to ask you about it strikes me as being odd that he's not done well here. And that's my pick to win the championship. So I'm a little bit concerned. Martin Truex has not ran well here. He's averaged around a 15th place finish. Now, he's a very good road racer, and at times he's dominated at Charlotte, where he's had his car locked in and he's leading 300 laps. So explain to me, if you can, why is Truex struggling so bad here at the Roval?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's one of those things that's like it's in your head, like, when you're going to pitch in this stadium, it's just like, man, you just, you start. I don't know, because you're right. He has dominated the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, and he's a good road racer, so you figure it'd be a good combo for him.
Yeah,
and he needs a good run.
He needs a good run, a very good run, and I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. He sits 6th right now, which is a dangerous spot, and I need to get him through to cash my ticket to win the Cup Series. William Byron on top, Ryan Blaney, those guys both through. Denny Hamlin's a pretty strong spot right now. I don't think he's going anywhere. Chris Bell won this last time. He's in 5th. Chris Buescher, Martin Truex, Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski. Out of those 4 guys, Buescher, Truex, Larson, Keselowski, who do you feel the safest getting through, and who are you the most concerned about? I'd say, guess by your last answer, that it might be Truex.
Yeah. The one that's going to go, I think, is Truex.
Yeah.
And the safest to me, for some reason, I think, is Chris Buescher. Yeah.
He's been super stable. I would say him and Larson. That's the thing about Larson. He's a guy, like, even if he has mechanical problems, he still can come by. You just can't ever bury that.
He really
guy.
is good.
Even with bad problems, he can still make up track position, which is a testament to how good he is. Chris, any thoughts? I know you're very high on Bubba Wallace making it through to the next round.
Yeah. Is this a cutoff race?
Yes. This is it.
Okay. Good. So whatever, as long as he gets eliminated, I don't care who wins the race, as long as it'll be a good race if he gets eliminated.
Yeah.
I
agree. Sam, do you think anybody between Reddick, Bubba, Chastain, or Kyle Busch can put any heat on these other guys and get in the top 8 safely?
Maybe Reddick, just because he's ran so well here.
I would agree. He's the safest right now. Chastain, that was a tough one last week for him. We liked him last week, and he might have had a good car and just bad luck, and he never really got to show anything, so that hurt. But kudos to you. Me and you both had Blaney as one of our top picks there. We cashed that ticket, so we had a pretty good week.
Picked him to win?
Yes. Damn. We had a 12-1 winner on Ryan Blaney, and you had Tannehill. He got over that touchdown prop.
Dude, I mean, Matt, a half a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, against a team that's been struggling too. So.
Yeah.
So a good winner there. Just real quick, back to the race before I get you a couple thoughts on football. Thoughts on the Talladega race? Obviously, great racing at the very end. Ryan Blaney, just exceptional, and some of those guys with the runs they were getting and the 3 grooves going at one point. I mean, that was very exciting. I'm glad it didn't turn out into like 6 overtimes with everybody out of the field.
That was enjoyable.
So it was a very good race. Just give me your observations. I know me and you talked about how impressive that was by Blaney to get the job done.
Yeah, it was awesome. And it was just Blaney. That was a Blaney win that needed to happen to prove to me that, maybe I need to not just think he's going to win one and then just go away.
Right.
I thought the race was awesome. I can't believe Keselowski, that push he gave.
Yeah, that's
just got crushed, man.
Yeah, that
just
hurt
got
us.
Crushed.
We were pretty high on him too, and the RFK guys didn't turn out as good as we hoped. But that's the way it's going to go. But we did cash a ticket with Blaney. We had a pretty good week because of that. So we'll take it. Going back to NFL, any touchdown guys looking good to you this week, or do you know yet?
I'm not really sure yet. I've looked, but because some of them weren't up yesterday, and now like most of them are up. So I'll probably end up texting you.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll put them up on social media so people can stay tuned. I usually put them up. So
like one that I love, I'm looking at right now. Mo Alley Cox is a plus 950 to score. Let's go, baby! Come on, Mo Alley.
Mo Alley,
baby.
Cox.
He's still with the Colts. Yeah.
I believe he is. Yeah, that'll be all right. Mo Alley Cox, I like it. How about in college football? Anything on the card look good to you? The Mountaineers with a nice win. They've been playing well.
Yeah, I was looking at the Alabama game.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really sure though. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that game in particular?
Like
it was.
I
do too. I do too.
Coach loves Texas A&M. Chris likes Bama.
Yeah, I like Bama too. Sam.
Just feel like they're more talented, even though their offense hasn't been what it's been for the last what I can remember.
We were talking about that earlier, and Bama finally, it seemed like they got right last week against Mississippi State. Looked much better, and we both agree that we'll take Saban over Jimbo Fisher any Saturday of the year.
Yeah.
And plus we don't like Jimbo. I think he's kind of.
I don't like Jimbo either. I hate Jimbo.
Yeah.
How about your boy Narduzzi last week? Good showing, huh?
You know what? I've heard some rumblings. I know it's not going to happen that Narduzzi would go to Michigan State.
All back to Michigan State, huh? Oh, and the Rays get called third strike looking series over.
They're going to celebrate now. They got all the plastic down in the locker room.
7-1. All right, Rangers first team to move on. So
nice, good for them.
Hey, Sam, let me ask you real quick. What are your thoughts on the Oklahoma-Texas? Or do you have any? That's one of the marquee games, and I want you to make me feel good because my play of the week is Texas giving, I think, 6.5.
Hook 'em.
Yeah, all right.
Were you just saying that, or do you?
I really think Texas is good.
They are.
I think Texas is good. I don't think it's a fluke. I think that they can. I think they can beat Oklahoma. Yeah. Oklahoma's been the same thing for a while, since like Jason White.
Yeah, always good, but not good enough.
Yeah.
They got at least they got a little better defense now with Venables. But yeah, you're right. They just seem to be like always just like
they get up there in the rankings. They do. They get up there.
They're kind of like pretenders. I mean, they're a quality team, but
they have been.
You know, they're not going to like do damage in the postseason.
Yeah. Hey Sam, real quick, last thing. Did you watch any of the Baylor UCF game last week with cousin
comeback?
Jake, the comeback? Yeah. How about that?
Yeah. We were here with Greta, and Lauren and I had it on, and we switched it off and put it back on, and it was just.
Well, they were so bad in the first half; it was an absolute embarrassment. I told Coach, this might be the worst team I've ever seen in the Power 5 conference, and then poof, here we go. They get all this momentum. Jake makes a big play to move the chains on a critical drive, and then. Man, what an ending. Jeez, it had everything.
It was such a college football game.
It really was.
I mean, it was just I had these feelings in my gut these last couple of weeks watching Baylor. It's like, I feel bad that he went.
I know.
And
I felt the same. Yep.
It's like shit.
Yeah.
You know, you only have so many chances to just pick a new place and start fresh. And but it was great that he made a play and that they won. But 36-35 is something else.
And now they get to go back home and maybe save their season as they host Texas Tech. So should be, let's hope the Bears keep it rolling and can finish out the season strong.
Hey, I wanted to ask you guys real quick about Coach T, Mike Tomlin. Just thoughts. Just a couple thoughts. I'm just open to listen.
Well, I'll go ahead and start, Chris. And it's not going to be very flattering. I think that guy's incredibly overrated. I do think he gets his teams to play hard. Mike Florio sat here in this chair and said that. I agree with that. But, man, I don't think this guy's a winner. I think he's a good – you know what? I think Mike Tomlin would be an exceptional college coach. Mm-hmm. I really do. But I don't think he's a pro coach, and I just don't think he has good assistants around him. And I don't know. I'm very skeptical of him ever being a top level NFL coach where they win playoff games ever again.
Yeah, Sam, I was I don't want to say shocked, but pleasantly surprised at how easily the Texans handled them. They beat the shit out of them. But again, it's like Tallman didn't have them ready. No. They just went down there and like they were gonna, because they're the Steelers. We're just gonna show up and win. But it's not that way, and it hasn't been that way for a long time. And whether it's him or the coaches that he hires, I mean, I do get tired of hearing about Matt Canada. Like, everything's his fault. I mean, no matter what happens, Kenny Pickett could overthrow two wide open guys, and it's Matt Canada's fault. I mean, sometimes the players got to be accountable for this shit.
We're going to be blaming Matt Canada for the Penguins' power play here this year too, exactly. For how bad it is.
Jeez.
Yeah, he's starting to say some things in these press conferences, and I'm like, all right, this doesn't make sense. Like when we're winning, it's all cool. No. I mean, he's like, if you have red paint the barn red. Like, yeah, that's fucking funny when you're winning. It is, but you're not winning, and we look like
what's
shit.
What's he say? The standard's the standard?
Right, don't get caught up in the minutia. Patrick Peterson shouldn't be playing. We should have re-signed Cam Sutton. We shouldn't have signed Patrick Peterson.
Well, and even Madden was
he looks very old.
Yeah, he was he's going to be
Bring back Joe Hayden.
Yeah, Joe Hayden. Right, exactly. Artie Burns.
He couldn't cover anyone.
But Sam, if because they look like they're gonna struggle all year. So I don't know, maybe 7-10, whatever. But if they're under 500, and do you think they're probably gonna lean toward a change, or is he their guy for?
I'm not sure, because I was all excited when Coach T said they were going to change during the press conference, and all he said that they were going to be more physical in practice. Put the pads on.
That's
what the fuck did that mean? I saw that.
That's idiotic for a pro.
That's what I mean. That's not change.
Well, you know what? That sounds desperate, right? Like we don't know what to do, so we'll just make up something.
I don't think he knows, Chris. Truly.
And this is the case with every coach that has ever coached football. Well, maybe with the exception of that goof for the Chargers. But you're only as good as the quarterback you got. I mean, really. I mean, he had Big Ben for all those years, and I think when
bailed him out of a lot.
Yeah,
hit a lot of deficiencies.
And he won his first Super Bowl with basically Cowher squad, right? He took over there,
and good veteran leadership.
Yeah. Yes, right. And they've had veteran leadership, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and even some. They've had some really good guys on the offensive line. But the knuckleheads they've had in skilled positions, Jesus Christ! I mean, it just let them get away with everything. But so I don't know. Again, if you don't have a good quarterback, I don't give a shit. How smart you are, X's and O's. I mean, just Belichick's perfect example.
Yeah, you kind of need that. That's for sure. All right, Sam. Any closing thoughts? Anything else interest you this weekend as we head into another loaded sports card?
Just baseball, football. The Twins had a chance to really pounce. They had the bases juiced. They only got 2 runs out of it, up 2-zip. So, Blue Jays are lucky. That one could have been busted open.
Hanging on by a thread.
Hey, Sam, too. Next Tuesday's the home opener.
Drop it. Drop the puck.
Yeah, we get to see Bedard.
Oh, I know. He might light Jari up.
Jari's
really,
a mess.
He really might.
Mess. He can't play. The guy's
Chris, did you watch that game?
He's terrible.
Yeah, they kept giving him power plays. They couldn't do anything with him.
Yeah,
Pens look like shit.
We got a lot of problems already. Mike Sullivan's going to end up having to be.
He's getting fired.
He's almost has to, and I don't dislike him. I think he's a good coach. But he's basically tied himself to let those veteran guys do whatever they want.
Yeah, he's going to get fired.
So if you can't get the power play better with Erik Karlsson, you got to go. I'm sorry.
Nope, I totally agree. If you hell, even just having sitting Erik Karlsson, you can put three average wingers on there. And
us three guys would be able to put up a few points.
Yeah, I mean, I might be able to get a deflection.
Yes,
but probably.
Well, I don't know. Matt and I said I'm not sold on the tang on that first power play, especially with another.
I think they're forcing him to play out of position. I think they want him back there because they know they got Malkin and Karlsson who aren't responsible defensively, and they're bound to give up shorthanded opportunities.
Well, I agree, but let's focus on scoring instead of.
No, I agree. If you put it in the back of the net, you shouldn't need to worry about
that.
So I'm with you.
So I you know what though? It's every fan in every sport. It's easy to overreact. It was one game, but my God,
we'll hear the fans chanting, "Shoot the puck!" It's like a guy's back his back will be towards the net, and they'll be yelling, "Shoot it!" It's terrible.
Well, hey Matt, I was telling Sam we need to go to a game. We'll get on a Saturday night game or whatever, and go up there and do dinner or whatever. That'd be fun.
Sounds like a winner to me. Let's hope we do it before they fall out of contention.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm trying to be optimistic, but I don't like what I've seen so far. So
hey, I just got to say, go Bucks. I texted Jared today. I said, hey, save your money for next year's wild card game. I said, save your money. Take it to the bank.
Do you really believe that?
Fuck no.
All right.
I'm hopeful, though. I'm hopeful. I've been cheering so long.
That's the way. Perfect
I got
way
no
to
choice.
All right, Sam. Thanks again for all the analysis. Great as always. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you next week here on Bettor's Last Stand. Good luck.
Yep, I'll talk to you guys.
Buzz, Sammy.
Later, guys.
Good night.
All right, that'll about do it for us here on Bettor's Last Stand. Matt and Chris here winding it down. Always good to have Sam come to us via teleport in studio. Reminders, check us out, Football Friday Show, 12 to 3 on WKKX, The Watchdog, or you can stream it on thewatchdognetwork.com. We got news on the missing Wheeling Park Eagle coming. We got the entire Ohio and West Virginia cards around the area. We got the Duggar Saucy Spread Week 7 lines coming out. Chris is probably going to work on his picks tonight.
Jeez, I'm falling
get
fast.
those in. Try to get himself back up in contention. So, yeah, lots to come. Thanks to our friends at Jill's Gentlemen's Club and Gumby's for all they've done for us, as well as the Watchdog team and our friends at IC Cab, who continue to help Champ get around town, our one and only Champ. So anyway, that's going to do it for us here in the Pine Room Studios. We will see you next week. Best of luck. Enjoy all the wonderful sports action. Baseball, hockey around the corner, and I guess you got to sprinkle in some football too. So we'll see you next week here in Bettor's Last Stand.